Welcome to Self-Publishing with ALLi, proudly sponsored by Book Vault. Sell high-quality print-on-demand books directly to readers worldwide and earn maximum royalties selling directly. Automate fulfillment and create stunning special editions with Book Vault Bespoke. Visit bookvault.app today for an instant quote. Our self-publishing news stream is sponsored by book cover design company Mibble Art. They offer unlimited revisions, take no deposit to start work, and you pay only when you love the final result. Get a book cover that will become your #1 marketing tool. And now, here's your host for Self-Publishing with ALLi, Dan Holloway.
Welcome to the Self-Publishing News, and as I record this on the last quiet day here in Oxford before a summer of turmoil begins when the students all show up tomorrow, it's appropriate that this is a podcast dominated by news about streaming and audio. So, what has been going on this week? The Book Industry Study Group, that's a fabulous title for an organisation. The BISG, as it will more commonly be known to you, has its annual meeting. BISG it describes itself as a group that does things at the sort of the intersection of different categories about books. It's the group, I believe, that comes up with all those fascinating subheading categories that those of us who have ever had bestsellers on Amazon will be familiar with. So it thinks about the taxonomy into which your book fits, that kind of thing, but it does a much wider group of things than that. And one of the things it's going to be doing at its annual meeting this week is handing out its Industry Innovator Award. This is an award that in the past, according to its press release, has gone to the likes of Wattpad and Scribed, and this week, it is going to be awarded to a company that isn't a book company, but is an audio company, and that company is Spotify. So very interesting that Spotify is not only doubling down on its work with authors and publishers and audiobooks, but is starting to be recognised as such. And it's really interesting reading through the BISG press releases. One of the things that really strikes you is what they're being given the award for, and indeed their own response to receiving that award. So I'll read you some of the stuff from the BISG press release from Executive Director Brian Leary, who notes, over the past decade, audiobooks have grown faster than any other format. Yup, we've noticed that too. He continues, as the market for podcast content grows, the ability to deliver books across streaming platforms has also helped book publishers take advantage of different ways to reach audiences hungry for audio content. Right, yes, okay, so far so good. But now when he talks about Spotify, it's really interesting. He says, Spotify's innovations around publisher and author service have brought continued growth in sales to the industry. So Spotify, although the previous comments noting specifically publishers, when it comes to Spotify, he's talking publisher and author service. Really, really interesting, though, then, is how Spotify respond, and the comment we have there from Susan Galvez, who is Spotify's Director of Editorial and Spotify Publishing. She says, at Spotify, we're committed to opening new doors for authors, expanding access for listeners, and helping the audio industry grow. And goes on to say, with the recent launch of our new short-form submission program for independent authors, we're lowering barriers and creating new paths for original storytelling. So, yeah, basically, the award is acknowledging Spotify's work with authors, but Spotify seem to be saying that they see their work with authors as absolutely central to what they do, and not only central to what they do, but kind of the most important thing they're doing in the audiobook sphere, which is really, really interesting, and I won't lie, really encouraging. I would also say, if you want to have some fun, then do go and read Mark Williams's take on the story. It is as acerbic and insightful as he always is. So yes, good week for Spotify. It's also a good week for people who want to do more streaming on Patreon. So one of the things I've noticed of late is that more of the people whose words I like to consume, whether that's people I find on YouTube or people whose blogs I like reading. So, for example, Catherine Rush, a lot more of their work is behind a Patreon. So in order to get their really meaty stuff, you need to join their Patreon and support them that way. It very much feels like we have come full circle from the very early days of indiedom back in the noughties with the 1,000 True Fans model, where the idea was that you could find your followers and then those followers would support you to make your living. You wouldn't need very many of them, but they would really they would care about everything you said and support you financially in saying it. That sort of went out of fashion as social media took over everything. Everyone gave everything away for free, it seemed. But now as followings have grown, people are starting to take those followings and put more of their time and effort into offerings just for their dedicated followers. They might have had very large followings on social media for free content. They've converted that into slightly smaller, often very smaller, but nonetheless very much more dedicated followings of people who support them on Patreon and other platforms. That has made things like Patreon a lot more important for us. And one of the new things that Patreon has announced is that it is going to allow people to live stream from within its own platform for as long as they want. So this will be, you can 24/7 live stream from within your Patreon should you wish, rather than having to do what people had to do previously, which is use an external platform to do that, even if you were directing people there through Patreon. This, again, is a very sort of self-publishing 3.0 principle of keeping people within the environment you want to keep them in, not sending them outside, but this sort of, it's a house party thing, right? It's inviting people over to your place, keeping them there and keeping them entertained. And this, I mean, to me as a performance poet, this feels really interesting because I love the idea of holding live stream performances and inviting people along. And if they're your Patreon members, it's sort of kind of like having a almost subscription ticket to a live show. You could also do live book readings of whole books, should you wish. You can also do that without fear that the content is then going to be public, like it would be if you did it on YouTube, for example. So it would get over some of your potential copyright fears, pirating fears. It just opens up all sorts of really interesting possibilities. And I'm going to end without actually having mentioned any AI stories at all, which feels great and refreshing. I will end by noting that I came across a really interesting article in The Guardian, which also looked at subscriptions and talks about a growing trend for book subscription services to turn to publishing work themselves. So obviously book boxes are generally they're a trendy thing right now. It's a bit like those fresh boxes, veg boxes that people get delivered on their doorstep every week. We're seeing more and more of this in other spheres. So it's been a thing for quite a while. You know, you'd have cigar of the week, razor of the week. There's probably a dog food of the week one. There have certainly been book subscription services for a huge long time, but these sort of book boxes, curated subscriptions have grown in popularity. There have been companies like, and the not necessarily ones I'd heard of before, are Owlcrate and Illumicrate, and they curate books that they think their readers are going to love and then deliver them to them. And they feel they know their readers really, really well and want to tailor things to them even more, and they're realizing that one of the ways they could do this is by publishing their own materials. So seeking out authors, commissioning authors to write things that they know are going to appeal to their readers. So that is an interesting trend, this sort of crossover. There is the increasing desire to do everything in-house, I guess is what it is. So it kind of goes with what we've seen with Patreon. It's this idea that what really matters, right, is your subscription list. is having these people knowing them really well and then giving them what they want. It's sort of two sides of the same coin. And I will leave you with that coin and look forward very much to speaking to you again at the same time next week. Happy self-publishing.
You've been listening to Self-Publishing with ALLi, proudly sponsored by Book Vault. Sell high-quality print-on-demand books directly to readers worldwide and earn maximum royalties selling directly. Automate fulfillment and create stunning special editions with Book Vault Bespoke. Visit bookvault.app today for an instant quote. Our self-publishing news stream is sponsored by book cover company Mibble Art. They offer unlimited revisions, take no deposit to start work, and you pay only when you love the final result. Get a book cover that will become your #1 marketing tool. And if you haven't already, we invite you to join our association and become a self-publishing ally. You can do that at allianceindependentauthors.org.